Hello everybody, happy belated Valentine's Day. It is Sunday, February 15th, 2026. This will be the second operations video that I've done. So, since the last one, which I look back on my YouTube page, and it's been like 2 or 3 years since I did the first operations video on the layout, quite a bit has changed, so we're going to walk through that. I apologize if you can't hear me as good, but I'm in the new staging area and the furnace is running because it's cold outside. Actually, it's better than it has been. We're not below zero at the moment. We're at like 40 degrees outside. So, anyways, this is the new staging area. If you haven't been following my layout updates, we're in the other room from the main layout. And I cut some stuff out here and went through the old, this used to be a theater room for the previous owner, and I went through the backdrop and there's the layout. So, new staging yard has been in about 7 months now. It's working very well, and you'll notice there's a whole lot more tracks over here, so that means I can run more trains. Yay. Anyways, the train we're going to run today is Westbound. It's led by locomotive number 300 there. It's a Broadway Limited 280 L3 class Mikado, which is prototypical for Milwaukee Road. Some of the details aren't quite right, but it's darn close. So, there's the train. We're going to get this on the tripod here so it's not bouncing around as much anymore once we get started. So with the new staging yard, here's the new timetable, because I was able to add a couple more trains here. We're going to be running today train number 267. I don't have departure times yet because I haven't quite figured that out on the timetable. But we're using engine number 300. It's a way freight. It's westbound. So that's the timetable, and we're on, this is the second cycle of the operations session, so it's July 5th, 1953. The other cycle is July 3rd, 1953. Now, I've changed quite a bit of stuff here. So these train orders look kind of the same. So it tells you what the train is on the top, if it focuses, what power you're using, what caboose you're using, and then all... Sorry, that's not focusing great. There we go. All the consists that's in your train. And then as you go through each town, it tells you what you're going to do at each one. And then at the end, it tells you what you should have in your train. So if you'll notice this marker here, because I'm still messing around with adding and subtracting some cars here. This is a new milk tank car that I just got, actually yesterday in the mail. So it's the only car on the train that you're going to see that's not weathered. There's a couple other cars sitting around the layout that aren't weathered. That's on my list to do here this week or the next week, whatever. Probably won't get a whole lot done this week because next weekend we go to the Madison train show with our Modutrack layout. So I got to get stuff ready for that. So anyways, here's the train orders. Biggest change is that I've done these train orders better now. I don't use car cards anymore. So you'll notice when we go in the other room, there are not any car cards or car card boxes along the fascia. I figured out we can run it just as, actually a little bit better, by just putting instructions on here rather than messing with car cards. It's less stuff you got to carry, and if you'll notice the train orders are on a clipboard, and there's little hooks along the sides of the layout. That's what we're going to use. So, be back with you in a minute once we get ready to go out of staging. So, train 267 is about to depart westbound from Portage staging here with engine number 300. It's a sound-equipped BLMI Mikado. BLMI? No, that's not right. Broadway Limited Imports. BLMI is a detail company that Atlas bought. Anyways, it's sound equipped. We're going to use it for a little bit, but I'm not going to use it all the way through the layout because, I mean the sounds, because it gets really annoying. So anyways, we got all the turnouts lined up to go out of staging here. So here we go. Oh, that's nice. The furnace shut off, so now you'll hear a little better. So we just made our way back into the layout room here from Portage, moving westbound. So the first town we're going to come to, again on the last operations video, this wasn't here. This used to be the staging road. This is Wisconsin Dells. And I think we'll stop here right in front of the freight depot. And then get it. We'll stop in front of the passenger depot. And figure out what we're going to do here. Alright, so our first town here is Wisconsin Dells. We don't have any setouts to do, but we got a bunch of pickups to do, and I'll walk through those as we do it here. So again, I'm probably going to get sick of listening to the steam engine making noise here, so I'll probably shut the sound off in a little bit, but regardless. So again, if you'll notice here, no card cards, no car card boxes. All we have is our train orders here. So if I walk through this, essentially we're picking up a bunch of cars. At Reed Lumber down here, we're picking up both the box car and the flat car here. We're going to pick up this empty flat car sitting at the freight house. We're going to pick up this Chicago and Eastern Illinois box car, this Great Northern Express box car here on House Track 1, and then this Sioux Line box car sitting on this passing siding, and then we'll be ready to go. So, we'll set this down here on one of the hooks. And we'll get to work here. Now, I have not run this train around the layout. I've had a couple buddies over do it, and I'm sick of it already. So we're going to shut the sound off. So we're going to work through here and figure out, again, what I do on operations may not be the most efficient way to do this. Like I said, it's the first time I've done it, so we're going to give her a try. I won't ramble on the whole time here. I'm just going to let you watch. So I think the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to back since we're not doing any set-offs, I think we'll get rid of the rest of the train because we're going to have to come in here to the passing siding to get these two cars. We're going to have to go over here to pick up those two guys. And then we actually are going to have to do a runaround move to get these two guys out of there. So we'll get rid of the rest of the train here back past this trailing point switch here. Especially since we're not going to have to do any setouts. Actually, we're going to back it up first, a little past here. Enough to put those two cars back on the train here, because then we'll be able to have more room to work for our runaround. Now, if you'll notice on this town, you'll notice when we get to the next two towns, Mauston and New Lisbon, there's blue point turnout controls in the fascia. This will have that eventually. They're not done yet, so I have to reach under in order to throw the switch machine. So there's blue point turnout controls under there, which also power the frogs. So ideally, we shouldn't have any problems with stalling or anything like that. One of these turnouts I do need to do a little bit of adjustments, because I can't remember if it's this locomotive or one of the other ones. It tends to have, it has a little problem getting in and out of there. So, but we'll see how we go here. So I think before we go back on the main, I think we're going to go forward here and grab those two cars off the house track that we need, these two guys, and we'll put them back here so we can run around them. Since that siding back down here by the lumber company is long enough, we can get that plus those two cars and the locomotive, we can still clear this turnout. Most of my, if you haven't followed the channel for too long, most of the industries on the layout are named for friends of mine in the model railroad hobby. Most of them I've either been in clubs with or some kind of groups with before. So I just think it's a nice way to honor them. Some of them aren't with us any longer. And then I try to put, at their industry, I put cars that would have run on their railroad. So for example here, Reed Brothers Lumber is named for Bill and Wayne Reed down in Illinois. They have the Cumberland Valley system, which is a pretty famous N-scale layout. This boxcar is actually a special run from Fox Valley Models that was lettered for the Cumberland Valley system. So, of course, that's the only actually fictitious freight car that's on the layout. But I thought it was appropriate, so yeah, we're going to use it. So I think we'll take these two box cars here. We're going to shove them over here, because then I can run around, push back, grab them, throw them out here. You'll get the idea. Most of the cars have microscale, microtrains and scale couplers on them. A few of them have Microtrains Z-Scale 905 body mounted couplers on them, which they look nice, but they will tend to create problems when you're operating. Not too bad, but they can be a pain sometimes. So if you're not familiar with my channel, again, I've set out the industries may not be prototypical in each town, but the track layout is. I took it out of the plat books for the Milwaukee Road. So they are accurate. They may be compressed or expanded a little bit at points, but overall they're generally correct. And for example, here at Wisconsin Dells, the freight house and the depot are in the right spot. Like I said, these crossovers were there. The bridge over the Wisconsin River is not as big as it should be or as deep as it should be, but again, it gives, oops, I don't want to do that, because we're going to grab those boxcars and shove them back. This ice house was not in the Dells, but I wanted a reason. I wanted to add some operational variety. So eastbound trains, they have to stop here and ice their reefers here if they have any in the train. So we'll take these two boxcars that are going to have to go on our train, and we'll shove them past the turnout here, and then put the rest of those back. If you look down past me there, there's some circus tents laying on the layout. That's a new addition. I had my mom and my dad who've been manufacturing circus tents for probably 40 years. That's going to be the Ringling show set up in the Dells. So I just got them and starting to build the poles for them. That's why they're not set up yet, and that's why that big top looks like it's kind of halfway sitting there and halfway not, but it's because it's not tied down yet. So we'll shove these 4 cars, which will get picked up by a different train at a later date, past the freight house here so they're not in the way in case another westbound needs to come by and dump a car at that freight house. But we're going to grab that flat car and that box car also. And the Z-scale couplers, they tend to play pretty nice with these picks. When we get to Mauston, the next town, I'll leave the sound on the locomotive just so you can get an idea what it sounds like when you start and stop and stuff like that. I won't tend to use all the whistles that I probably should be, but so there's no local switcher here at the Dells. All the road freights actually have to do the work in the town. In Mauston, New Lisbon, and Camp Douglas, there is a local switcher, so it's a little different. You don't have to go into the industries to pick up all of your equipment. You just have to grab it off grab it or dump it off at the passing sidings, and then locals will do the actual work. Okay, so with that, we've done all of our jobs here, and we're ready to proceed west to Mauston. After I get the cars hooked up. Z-scale couplers. So this is Mauston, Wisconsin. Train's coming around the corner here, coming into town. We have just a couple of set-offs this time. 2 boxcars that are going to go on the team track over here. Again, you'll notice with Mauston here, the Blue Point turnout controls, which are mounted under the layout, are attached, and now you don't have to reach in there before you turn out. So I'll leave the sound on this time for the locomotive. that's not good. Of course, when you're filming, things go wrong. So, the Chicago Great Western boxcar and the Chicago Milwaukee and Omaha, Chicago Northwestern boxcar, are going to get set off on this team track, and then eventually, later time in the session, this switcher will do all the work in town here. So we'll back it up a little bit, take the slack out of the train. So it should be easier to get together a couple. Or not. We'll just try it this way. Everything's not behaving today. Apologize for that. And that's all the work that we got to do here in Mauston. So we'll grab our train and head on to New Lisbon, which is the next station, town on the way out. We'll just keep the camera running this time. It's just around this corner is New Lisbon. Essentially, again, we're just gonna, there's a local that works out of New Lisbon. We're gonna dump some cars off and grab a different string of cars at the end of the yard. But before we do that, the steam locomotive here has to stop at New Lisbon and take coal and water. So what we're going to do is going to go up here to the turnout. Leave our train on the main, uncouple, and then back in there and take our water for 10 minutes on the fast clock. So you can hear, I just turned on the fast clock, so it's actually running behind us here, up on the wall. And we'll shut the sound off, save everybody's ears. So essentially we got to go up here and then back up here and take coal and water for 5 minutes at each one. I'm not going to film that for you because it doesn't actually do anything. But again, it adds operational interest. So we'll go back there and then we'll start up again. So as that's backing up here, we'll get our clipboard and we'll figure out what cars we're going to dump off and then what we have to pick up. Be back with you when we're ready. Okay, so we finished taking our water, and now we're gonna go up here, grab our train again, and then dump our cars off into the yard that we're gonna set out and grab a string of 4 that are sitting up there for the next town. And again, in New Lisbon here, we have all the blue points working, the controls on the front of the fascia, except for that last turnout that I just went and flipped. So I think what we'll do is we'll just pull right in here into this end of the yard. Track 4 here, those are the 4 cars we're going to grab. And then the ones we're going to set off are this reefer, these 2 hoppers, and these 2 milk tank cars. And they're going to replace the cars that we grab off of here, and they're going to go right back on that same track. So as I said, I've been adding some cars here and there. And the ones that I've been adding, I haven't had a chance to weather yet, and some of the locomotives as well. So this HH1000 here, that's a custom shell that hasn't been weathered yet. So let's leave the caboose here, if I can get it uncoupled. I think I need to add some weight to these cabooses so that they stay on the track better when you're trying to uncouple them. This is not the way to do this. And I don't edit my videos, I just let them run. So you're getting the whole thing. So again, these 5 cars are going to go back here on track 4. The 4 cars that are on track 4 are going to go back with our train and go to the LaCrosse. So we'll just grab those and shove them back. And like I said, of course, when you're filming, nothing stays on the track. So there you go. And we didn't grab our cars. So we'll just cheat. So now we're ready to head to the next town down the road, Camp Douglas. So we'll be back with you here when we get out of the yard and get to the next town. So Camp Douglas here is going to be pretty easy again. We're just going to look at our clipboard here. We're going to pick up these 2 cars here, and we're going to set off 4 cars that are in our train on that same passing siding. So 4 box cars. And we just got to make sure we put the right numbers ones over there. So I believe, we got to look here. This 50-footer, this Sioux Line car, this Milwaukee car, and then that guy. So ideally, all these moves now with these locals that are in town that actually do the work, the road trains, with the exception in Wisconsin Dells there, and then in Fort McCoy around the corner here, all the moves that they do to drop or grab cars are all trailing point moves. So it makes it easier, and I think it's more realistic what they would have actually done. At least that's what I'm making it work like. And that's all the work here. So we'll go around the corner and do our final work. So we're just coming into Fort McCoy here, and all we have to do is pick up that gondola we're going by right now, and that's it. So we'll just leave the train on the main here, just grab it with the engine. So that completes our work here, and then we'll grab the train and head through the wall and back into the staging yard, and we'll be done in LaCrosse. So I know this is a little bit longer video, but I hope you enjoyed watching just a sample of how operations are going to work on the layout. Following train 267 westbound on the Milwaukee Road LaCrosse division in 1953. So we're just pulling into the staging yard here in LaCrosse. So as we're getting to the end of the track here, if you look here, the double main line here on the outside of the yard, that's for both continuous running, and then at the end of the session, we turn all the train, I back the trains out, run them around the return loop here, and back them back into the other end of the staging yard, so we're ready to go for the next session. So with that completes our journey around the layout. So hope you have a pleasant rest of your day, and thanks for watching.